lens cap is not even to this camera. I don't know what's going on. What's up, guys? Welcome to Stupid O'Clock episode. First Milky Way episode of the year, so I'm always very excited about that. But it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I went to bed at 10 last night and I woke up at 1:15 so I could be out here. So we have nice clear skies. It's surprisingly not windy. We're at like 8,000 feet on top of a mountain in the desert and it's feeling wonderful. What are we doing? We are doing Milky Way photos with the S22 Ultra. So let me turn on my screen recording bit here and let's jump into it because I've got some things I want to check. All right, so we're going to do a couple of different things here. I'm going to start off with the Expert RAW mode. If you're not familiar, I will be doing a Pro mode video that's going to go over the Pro mode and the Expert RAW and the differences, if any. But the main difference is for Expert RAW mode, you're going to need to download it separately. I think, well, I can't remember, but it's not on the Google Play Store. It's only on the Samsung Store. So the main difference is, though, that most people are wanting the Expert RAW mode is going to be the 16-bit RAW versus the 14-bit RAW that comes with the regular camera app in the Pro mode. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to give both of them a try and see. You can see my settings here. I've got ISO 1600. So I would rather start with 800 actually. So we're going to start with 800. We're going to back it down. I'm going to go with 30 seconds. 30 seconds, if you zoom in, is probably going to give me a little bit of a star trail, but I don't think it'll be noticeable zoomed out. I'm actually going to do autofocus because when I put it in manual focus, I don't like this new manual focus business here, and it seems to be having a really hard time finding focus in manual. Like, it doesn't have the flower sign to the mountain sign anymore, for the flower being macro and the mountain being infinity. And Samsung phones, if you've ever used them for astro stuff like this, putting them on infinity does not guarantee that you're going to get infinity. So it's not like the higher quality lenses that we're using to film this video. So you really have to play around. If you're going to do manual focus, you really have to play around with this slidey bit, and you'll notice the green in the image. So you can see the green at the bottom there. That is focus peaking. Okay, so that's telling you what's in focus, but I don't want the foreground in focus. I want the stars in focus. So theoretically, you would think, well, I would move it all the way to the end, but it can't focus on the stars. Like, it can't see the stars well enough to use the focus peaking. So you know what? I'm just going to switch it to auto and 30 seconds. And I think ISO 800. Auto white balance 3900 is alright. I like to keep a cooler white balance. Light, Brittany. Alright, so let's take a look at that. You can light me up, Brittany. There we go. Okay, so here's what we're seeing on the RAW file. It's looking a little weird. On the back of the screen, it's looking weird. So we're going to hope that we can clean this up. But the focus is definitely sharp in the foreground. And now you'll see we have a little bit of what looks like potentially motion blur from the stars moving if you zoom in. You'll also notice that we have, look in the upper right there, we have a lot of coma. I'm not gonna do too much of reviewing and stuff on here. We'll jump back into the computer as soon as we're done with this and take a look at the files on the computer. The colors are looking okay though, the white balance is good, and like I said, surprisingly, that autofocus is doing a better job than I was doing with the manual focus. So let's go take the same shot. I'm at 30 seconds, ISO 800. I really don't like, this can go up to 3200 ISO. I really don't like cranking the ISO on the phones if I can avoid it. The sensor is so tiny and it's just not good for noise and stuff like that. So let's go out here and then we'll go to the regular camera app. We'll go to Pro mode. Now we'll go to, we're at ISO 800, 30 seconds, autofocus, white balance, 3900 Kelvin, same as we were before. So everything is the same. So we're going to take that shot. You want to, camera lady, dim the lights? Thank you. Light Aziz. Okay. So here is the JPEG, and here's the RAW for the regular camera app. So I do want to have a look at these two, compare them, both the RAWs, and then edit them both and see which one cleans up nicer. I mean, obviously you would expect that the Expert RAW app shot with the 16-bit RAW would do a better job, so that's what we're going to find out. And we're going to see how much better, if it's incremental, if it's even worth it, does it matter? I don't know, because this is only the second time I've done Astro. I took this one shot a couple weeks ago with the phone, but that was just of Orion. And that one, all I did was edit it in Lightroom Mobile real quick on the phone out in the field. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to increase the ISO to 3200. Now I'm going to drop my shutter speed to 15 seconds. So unfortunately we can't really dial in. We get increments, you know, so we've got 30, 15, 10, 8. So I'm going to drop it to 15 seconds. And then we're going to take that shot. All right, light. Okay. All right, so now if you look, we're seeing a massive difference. There's a lot more noise. So you're seeing these areas where the blacks are, those areas are looking purple and just super noisy, and reds and all the banding and the yuckies. So this is the RAW from 800, ISO 800. And this is the RAW from ISO 3200. That's what I'm talking about when I'm saying, like, just because the phone can do something doesn't mean you should. So we definitely want to keep that. 800 is like kind of the sweet spot of where I'm willing to go. You just have to like keep in mind, this is one of the things that I'm like showing you guys my trial and error here, because you have to really, with Astro, especially with the phones, we really have to, it's finding that balance of dialing it in, you know, of the compromises between, is the ISO too high, is the shutter speed too long, you know, those are things you really have to play with to really get the proper exposure that you're looking for. So now you can see that the Milky Way is actually rotating. So I need to move my, I'm going to put that tree branch, that little dead tree right there, I'm going to put it on the lower third vertical thingy there, and that's going to help. Just kind of a rule of thirds thing. It's not necessary, but it's nice. So we're going to take one more shot. I'm going to back it down to 15 seconds. You know what? I'm going to leave it at 20 seconds, and I'm going to go up one to ISO 800. We're going to try that. All right, and light. Light. Okay, so let's see how we're looking. I'm not... Also, don't take these compositions too seriously. This is, you know, 3 o'clock in the morning with zero composition scouting in mind. This isn't going to win any photography awards. This is mostly just focused on the Milky Way, but the Milky Way is looking all right. So I'm going to go back into, I'm happy with that. I'm going to go back into the regular camera app, and I'm going to take the same shot, ISO 800. Oh, I can't do, okay, so I got to do 30 seconds. Interesting. So 30 seconds, ISO 800. I'm going to drop it down to 640. And light. Okay, light. Alright, so now we're looking at, there's the raw. You can see we got a little too much light on the foreground. I'm going to try one more shot and bring that light down. We're just holding the light out. You know, we're just, camera lady's got a little lume cube that she's just holding the light out, and that just is helping with some sort of foreground interest rather than a complete silhouette. So let's try that one more time. And just give it the super smallest, flashiest of flashes. Yep, okay. Because I think we got a little bit from the beginning there. We're getting ambient light, you know, with you holding it, so I think that might be actually enough. No, it's okay. But I think that the lower ambient light like that, let's see. All right, light. Okay, so now we don't have any blown out highlights there. We also don't have any detail on like the midground. That's what's making this composition look a little weird. So we have like the foreground lit up and then this big black strip. But that's just how it is for this. All right, so real quick, I think we're gonna wrap it up here for the outside stuff. A couple of key things also for astro and long exposures in general, obviously, is make sure you have a good sturdy tripod. And with the phones, because we have an extra attache bit, make sure you have a really good like clamping system. So I'll show you mine real quick. But this guy is the Peak Design, and I'm using, so they have their Peak Design mobile case. I have the case, and then I have all these accessories that go with it. And this isn't sponsored. They're not paying me to say any of this. This is just what I use. And I think that it's personally, I think that this is the best system for holding phones. But this is their little Arca Swiss plate, and I love that because all of my tripods are Arca Swiss. So it mounts, and it's magnetic, and it clips in there. And in the case of this one, there's an actual, it's magnetic, but there's also a physical clip that you have to hold down to pull it out. And that just makes it more secure. But it's super fast. And I mean, this is not coming off. Unlike like some of the other MagSafe things that I've used in the past, this is not coming off. So anyways, just a quick shout out to Peak Design for making the best mobile system that I've seen so far with the MagSafe. And they have a lot of other stuff too, like they have the car charger, and they have, check this out real quick. I know we're like in the dark and it's a weird time to plug this, but you know, they have this little thing, and I love it because check this out. It just clips right back on there, and then bam, I have like this tiny little tripod that I can like set down on. And that's really cool, and then it's real flush, and you could keep it on there if you need to. This obviously is more of a tabletop type of thing, like it would be a little more difficult out here, but that's why, you know, I have this guy. This is their mobile creator kit, and it can go this way too, if you, there. So if you want vertical, you know, it can go that way too. All right, I'm gonna take a couple more shots potentially, and then we will jump back into the computer after I go night-nights, because I'm very tired. Camera lady is also very tired. So we're gonna stop this. I'm gonna take a couple of extra shots. I'm gonna drive an hour home. I'm gonna go back to sleep. And I'm gonna wake up and have lots of tea, and I will see you after that. Okay, back in the studio. Nap time, breakfast time, multiple tea time sessions have all been successful. So we're ready to roll. I have not looked at these yet. It's the next day. I'm gonna dive straight in them with you, and I'm gonna go through a couple things. I'm gonna edit a couple of them, and we're gonna see what's up and see what I think. All right, so this is the first one that I wanna take a look at, and this is from the, we're gonna do two things. So this is from the regular camera app. This is f1.8, 30 seconds, ISO 800. So I'm gonna open this up, and then I'm gonna compare it to the same one that we took in the Expert RAW. And you'll notice right here that the bit depth, it says 12. So that's a 12-bit image. So now if we come over here into the Expert RAW app, and I come down to the same image, so that would be this one. So same settings, 1.8, 30 seconds, ISO 800. Now you'll notice the bit depth here is 16. So that's the largest difference between using those apps, is that this one gives me the full bit depth. Okay, so we're definitely seeing a bit of difference in some noise levels and some processing. Even though they're both raw images, I really have to wonder how they're being read, and if they're being read evenly or the same. And I tend to think not, because they're using different camera apps and because they're different bit depths. So this one here is the 16-bit, and you can see there appears to be less noise, but there's a lot of blotchiness in the shadows here. And then you can see here in this one, this is the one from the camera raw, that's the 12-bit image. There is more noise, but there's less blotchiness, and I haven't done noise reduction on either one of these. That's the only thing I didn't do. So this isn't done editing. This is just the initial process in camera raw, and that's just, I'm gonna leave it there to see what you guys think. Let me just open up this one, the 16-bit raw. All right, so that's probably the most I would do to this image. It's already been pushed pretty hard. And just a note here, you know, like, we are seeing details in the Milky Way a little bit, you know, but we're not seeing, like, there's no Pipe Nebula. We're seeing a little bit of Dark Horse. So there's just not a lot of detail, and that comes down to the sensor, basically. You know, you're just, especially with a single image and not stacking, and with the focal length, we're just, all of those things combined about the phone is just going to be lacking a little bit in detail. But the fact that we can see that there's a Milky Way there, we can see that there's a foreground here, all of that stuff is looking really good. And the fact that this gives access to so many people to the Milky Way or to the night sky that maybe never would have had that opportunity before, that's what I enjoy most about this. All right, well, I'm gonna wrap it up there with that. I might edit one or two more images and I'll put them up for you guys. I think though, looking at the different raw files from the regular camera app and the Expert RAW, there's definitely some differences, and there's some differences in the apps themselves, which I'll get into in another video. The question is, you know, does it matter to you? And to me, I'm still not sure. The jury's still out on that. I'm gonna keep using it with both and seeing, I mean, obviously there is scientifically, there's the 16 bits is better than 12 bits. That's a significant amount of extra data and color space and all of that stuff to work with. So it's just going to come down to whether you absolutely need that. In most situations, when you're not even going to push the image that hard, and especially if there's decent lighting and all that stuff. In most situations, it's not going to matter. It's only going to matter in times like this, maybe, where you're really pushing the phone to its limits and you're pushing that sensor to its limits. Those, to me, are going to be the only times when you might consider putting in the extra effort for dealing with the 16-bit RAW and the extra app. But even then, I mean, it's so small. Like, what are you going to be doing with this? You're going to be posting on social media, you know? And if that's the case, then I really highly doubt that that's going to narrow the margin of necessitating the 16-bit, you know, versus just the regular camera app. At least in terms of image quality, there may be other benefits to using the Expert RAW app. You know, it has slightly different controls, and it does give you the telephoto and all of that natively, so that's nice. I mean, all that aside though, I feel like you can do a lot with this phone, and every year the phones get better and better. And I know, like, especially for stuff like when I do, like if I'm going out backpacking and don't want to take a lot of gear or whatever, but I still know I'm going to have some Milky Way opportunities or some Star Trail opportunities or some long exposure opportunities, I know that I'll be okay with my phone. Like, am I going to sell those images professionally for thousands of dollars like I do my images with my big cameras? Probably not, but that's not why I do photography. I don't do it just to make money. I do it for the enjoyment of it and for the creativity. And the fact that this is giving me that option for creating in ways that we couldn't do, you know, 5, 10, 15 years ago, I like where it's going. So if you guys have any questions about anything that I did concerning the astrophotography with the S22 Ultra, anything that I forgot or whatever, leave those in the comments below, and you know I will definitely answer them. I will be doing, I have a couple, at least 2, I believe, other astro type videos to do with the S22 Ultra, and I have more videos overall that I will be doing with the S22 Ultra. So if you have any questions or interest in those, leave those in the comments below and I will definitely answer them. If you're still here, I super appreciate it. It means the world to me that you stuck around through all of my talking. And if you could hit that like button for me, that's the best thing you could do for my channel, and I super appreciate it. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.